Hello, I am live. Let me get a mic check in, adjust my mic, and let's discuss the $14 million. I mean, not 14 million, $12 million settlement for Breonna Taylor. The murder of the killing of Breonna Taylor out of Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, right? Unjust killing and murders that took place Louisville, Kentucky by hand of the police force. So we'll get into that. Some people may call it a form of reparations, right? As you come in, let me get my 5 minutes countdown timer on. I want you to drop your city and state and say hello. We got Martin already in the house from the 313 Detroit, Michigan, right? For those who are new to my channel, I am known in the credit and cash flow world as the queen of credit. Kind of have my this hand logo somewhat in the background there. So we have Martin coming in. Says he's the first. Someone said Martin has that copied and paste, right? The first coming in from the 313. Got a lot of people coming in. Also have Phoenix, the Phoenix 33. Good evening to you, right? Sophia, hello to you, Queen. Thanks for that digital love, showing the purple heart. We have Gwen Armstrong from Dallas, Texas. Gwen, let me highlight your name. Got Gwen coming in. Thank you. Martin says, love the logo. Let me see, can I position it a little different, a little bit more? You can well, it won't show all of it more, so I am showing the part that I can see. We have Killeen, Texas in. Hello, Kenneth on Facebook for Killeen, Texas. Miss Jess, hello, y'all. Gotta love that y'all, that Paula Dean y'all, that Southern, right? Southern accent is coming in from Houston, Texas. Gwen says, yeah, you bringing that love in from the D Wing. Thanks, Gwen, for bringing that in. Eldenburg, Texas is representing. They said, we do everything. Everything's did bigger in Texas. We have Trey coming in from Edinburgh, Texas, right? Melvin from St. Louis. St. Louis is in the house. Hello, St. Louis. Thanks for tuning in. We have Lafayette, Sophia from Lafayette, Louisiana. And you all keep in mind that we are keeping Mississippi, right? Louisiana, Florida, maybe some parts of Georgia in our prayers, Alabama, and our prayers and thoughts tonight as Hurricane Sally is still unpredictable what exactly will happen. So we are praying that nothing detrimental happen in these states as Hurricane Sally is making moves and making waves, right? Stay off my, hello, Greensboro, North Carolina. Hello, North Carolina. The 305 is in the house. Nyla, we got the 313, Detroit, Michigan, and we also have the 305 in the house as well from Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida, right? Let me go back. Thanks for the super chat. I already have a super chat. Thank you, Midnight Cobra, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. From Atlanta, the ATL is in the house. From Atlanta, thank you so much for that $9.99 super chat. St. Louis, is it another St. Louis? We have another St. Louis that's in the house. I think we had St. Louis from Facebook, Melvin, and now we have Nathaniel from St. Louis as well. Hello, Nathaniel from St. Louis. We have another Detroit in the house. The 313, right? Detroit, Michigan. Periscope, hello. Detroit, another Detroit in the house. Inland Empire, California, what's up? Gotta love saying Inland Empire, California, right? What's up, Jay Smith from Inland Empire, California, right? Hello, Jay. Another super chat. Thank you so much, Queen. Thank you so much, Gwen, for the $20 super chat coming in. I'm strong right now with the super chats. So when I make my picture smaller, you all can somewhat see more of the logo, right? More of the logo. And thank you all so much for contributing to the channel as we have approximately 10 seconds countdown beginning. Gwen and Midnight Cobra, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Because a lot of time not only goes into what I want to meditate and think about to give you all for the best, but just a lot of times I could be focusing on definitely credit, right? I always have credit work to do, but I want to keep people educated, informed, and updated about what's going on in this society. Yeah, Detroit is definitely in the house. The 313 is representing. Thank you, Melvin. Another $20 super chat. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all. I'm very humble. And just know that I have confidence, right? That you will see the rewards of your donations as your seeds. And you would definitely, my prayer is that you get 100 times more than what you're giving, right? I definitely pray over you all that do sow or give into the channel, to the purpose and the vision. And I'm praying that that returns to you 100-fold back, 100 times more, right, than the amount that you sold, and that you will see that quickly, right, and expeditiously, as T.I. would say, return to you. So thank you all so much, my kings and queens, for supporting the channel. Jesus says thank you as well. Jesus, I always have my back. Thank you so much, Jesus. And we have Lee, aka Les Brown, my business partner. It's in the house, right? In the credit and cash flow room as well. So thank you all so much. Come on in the room, right? Gwen says, I'm all about supporting the queen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, Jesus. We pretty much, for our everyday people that's tuned in, and make sure you subscribe to this channel, whether you're watching this live on the replay. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because after a while, right, we get like family, right? We get like family, and going forward with not knowing which way the economy is going, you definitely need the support of your family on this channel and everything that's going on in the economy, not only just economic wise, but health wise as well. And so thank you all so much for that generous support. It is highly appreciated, right? So let's get into this topic, city to pay. We are referring to Kentucky, right? Louisville, Kentucky. And the city of Louisville is agreeing to $12 million to the family of Breonna Taylor and also the Reform Police Practices Act as a part of the settlement announced today. Months after her slaying by police thrust and the Black woman's name to forefront of national reckoning on race. So if you know anything about this, right, you know that her boyfriend was in her apartment with her at the time of the shooting, of the slaying, right, of the murder. And at that time, at that time, her boyfriend was armed, right? The boyfriend was armed, and he fired as the police broke into the apartment, right? And so upon firing first, there are still some questions concerning the policeman being charged for the murder, right? So it still has to go to higher courts. And let me show you. Second article. It still has to go to higher courts for the actual trial of the police officers. So this agreement requires the city to implement also additional police reforms, including the mandate for supervisors to sign off on search warrant, right? Did not have a search warrant, so this is now mandated. This is a picture of her mother, and the mayor, Greg Fisker, announced that the city, will pay to the estate, right? So last week, I think it was on Black Dollars Matter. I did a video stating that situations like this must continue to happen on a large scale, right? On a large amount, in order for these unjust killings and murders to take place. Breonna Taylor was 26 years old. And of course, her mother stated, like any other mother or parent would, that no amount of daughter could bring no amount of money, right? No amount of money could actually bring back her daughter. But in the eyes of some people, right, sometimes money is the only thing that brings racial justice, right? And so as a parent, as a mother myself, no amount of money, and then, even when you have to, let me see, continue reading this article. I want to share the rest of this article with you all. So let me pull it up on my phone. But even when you have to determine how or and what measures to spend that money, it has the blood of your child on it, right? And so I still believe that, and this is a settlement, and I'm pulling up some additional information that's even bigger than or just as big as the reparation that the Jews were giving by the Obama and Biden administration in 2009 to Jews for the Holocaust, right? $12 million. So this in monetary terms, in order to hopefully at least limit or stop some future deaths that are happening once they know that financial monetary demands will be given, may actually stop or prevent a lot of future murders from happening, right? And the reason why I say this, because people, Oprah Winfrey, she featured her, Breonna Taylor, on the O magazine. And I'm going to share this with you. And I love this quote that Oprah or the magazine has on it, and it states, if you turn a blind eye to racism, you become an accomplice to it, right? If you turn a blind eye to racism, you become an accomplice of it. And so it's going to take both awareness. Someone on my Facebook made a post that what has really the Black Lives Matter movement accomplished, right? They made a post, received a lot of comments. And I can say this, it has brought more awareness, right? Not only statewide, within states, within the United States as well, but globally in other countries, right? Even George Floyd, the protests, whether they was peaceful or not peaceful, right, were done in other countries as well outside of the states. So it has brought a global awareness, and that is the starting point. That's the starting point. But the financial reparations, it will be or will help the ending point, right? And it's unfortunate that it had to be distributed this way, but this stands a very bold statement, especially when you talk about the Black and Brown community and the unwillingness of the United States to give any type of reparations for 400 years of slavery, right? And so this inform is a form of reparations. All of it will have the blood of unlegal and unlawful deaths on its hands, but it's better than just having representations of racism eliminated, right? And what I mean by that, okay, yeah, yes, it's fine to have a Confederate flag not flown in Mississippi, right? It's fine to have statues, but those are just idols or images of racism, right? Other cultures have been receiving monetary gains for years to help their culture combat racial acts. And to my knowledge, this is the largest amount of our payments given out, right? People are asking about credit. Romelio on Periscope, just hold on. I will answer that credit question. Kenneth says, I will answer your question about credit, Romelio, when I finish my point. You're welcome. So yeah, I will do that. I think it's the no-knock strategy across the nation needs to be removed, a shift to federal terms, just my input. What needs to be shift to federal terms? Can you just elaborate on that? Because I really don't know what you're stating. So her boyfriend, who was licensed, right, who was licensed to carry a firearm, he shot at the police officers that they knocked several times. However, they had no search warrant. So her boyfriend was licensed to carry a firearm. He shot, according to his attorney, and struck one of the officers, according to police. Officers responded by firing more than 20 bullets, as at least 8 out of which killed Miss Taylor. So she was shot approximately 8 times, but they fired 20 bullets. No drugs was found in her home. She had no criminal record. And so this happened, I think, let me see, in late June. One of the officers, okay, so in late June, one of the officers, right, they always do overshoot, was fired for violating procedures, right, because he blindly fired 10 rounds into her apartment, right? So one of the officers were fired. Now, the $12 million settlement is relatively large with similar payouts. So let's look at the other payouts. In 2015, as I try to pull this information up, in 2015, North Charleston, South Carolina, agreed to pay $6.5 million to Walter Scott. $6.5 million settlement for the Walter Scott and the family of Walter Scott. So we're going to break down. Thank you so much, Jay from Detroit, for those kind words. I appreciate you. And let me answer this question real quick. Someone says, what is the $20 for? And Sean Doe put the laughing emojis. For sharing this information that I'm sharing, for my knowledge and my time, because time is money, and for trying to help people credit and cash flow wise financially and keep people informed of what's going on in this environment. and how to survive it economically, financially, mentally, and emotionally. And people appreciate me taking out the time. And so they give to support the channel and to support the mission, right? A lot of times, a lot of people ask credit questions that would have been, other people would charge a fee to answer, right? That if people do give super chats, I will take out the time to answer sometimes, right? And so the $6.5 million settlement paid out to the family of Walter Scott. This was in 2015. The police officer was later charged with murder in this case. North Charleston, again, South Carolina. So this is another case. I think the 12 million is the largest, but this happened in 2015. I can't get this to really show good, this particular article. So this is one example. Another settlement side of Walter Scott is that same year, 2015, Baltimore settled for $6.4 million for Freddie Gray. Let me see how I spell his name. Baltimore, $6.4 million. And again, you all pray for Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama. Hurricane Sally is coming through. All right. So this is another example, Baltimore in the Freddie Gray case. Same year, 2015, civil claims, $6.4 million. The unlawful murder of Freddie Gray settlement, right? And these are just some other settlements that have been set. And then in New York City, Eric Garner, 5.9 million. New York City, Eric Garner, 5.9 million. Let's see what year that was. He died after police put him in a chokehold, right? The Eric Garner death, I'll show you all. And that settlement amount was 5.9 million. This is out of New York. So no, it's not a real price for death. I do agree on that. It's not a real price for death. However, right, as I tell people, I always revert to this story. When Rosa Parks did not get out of her seat, right, it wasn't that Rosa Parks just, that was a big deal, right? I mean, it was a big headline, a big movement. But what really, and this is New York City, the same year, 2015, all these 2015, agreeing to pay $5.9 million to resolve the wrongful death claim over his killing by Staten Island last July. And he was killed in a chokehold, right? And so this settlement was for $5.9 million. However, people, when the Black and brown community got together, because Rosa Parks, right, stood up or sat down, when they got together and boycott and supported her and took the money away from the businesses, right? Now, a lot of people may have the argument that, well, the police officers are not suffering financially. Believe me, when the states suffer financially, right, it trickles downhill, and it does impact that state. It does impact and affect the police department as a whole and those police officers, right? And so now these families, people can do things to continue to educate. Breonna Taylor's family can now have a monetary foundation where they can afford the legal help that they need to take this trial to a grand jury for a grand jury to decide the fate of the police officers. So that monetary payout really is a big thing, right? When again, as I stated earlier, when other cultures are receiving reparations, except the Black or the African and Black and Brown community, the African American community, right? It is a big thing. No, it cannot replace their life. I'm no way suggesting it, but it makes a bigger impact than what you all think. And if more of these were handled this way and millions of dollars were paid out for these unlawful deaths, right, then it definitely, and I think it's the only thing, listen, they don't care about you protesting. Yes, as Martin said, economic boycott. They don't care about your signs. They don't care about your marches. They don't care about destructing businesses, right? What they care about is paying out financial reparations. And that's the only way. And so if enough families, if enough people in the Black and Brown community continue to use that for awareness, education, continuing to improve communities, continues to improve their lives, right? Then at least the lives of their loved ones and the legacy can continue to live on because now they have the financial strength and power behind it to do so, right? It's all about having the financial power to fight the wickedness and the evil in this world. Not, postage signage and destruction of property. Having the financial power to combat this, to bring awareness, and to be able to hire the best legal representation that you can afford. Now, to the credit question, Romello, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, asks, why would I lose 50 points on my credit when taking my utilization to zero? Depends on, Romello, what utilization to zero are you taking? If it's installment debt, like a vehicle payment, if it's a personal loan, that will drop your score because it limits your credit history. I think Jesus explained this one time on one of my live streams, and it helped me give a very simple explanation to people that ask the question, that closing an installment account, right? In other words, your credit score, 35% of your credit score is accumulated or factored in by your payment history, right? How many years, months, or weeks have you been positively paying on an account? So with a vehicle loan, for example, it's called installment debt, or a personal loan or student loan. Once you pay those off early, it's like closing the account. And so I tell people all the time that if you want to pay off installment debts early, just know that may have a negative impact on your credit score. Now, why 50 points? There was a big drop, right? So I'm assuming that this was an installment debt. Revolving debt is simply credit card debt or charge cards. Now, when you pay down a credit card debt or charge card debt to zero, it keeps the accounts open. So because 35% of that is factored in to your credit score, your payment history, right? Okay, so it was a credit card from, so it was not an installment card from 9% to zero. Honestly, I've never seen it. I've never, paying off credit card debt will increase your credit score. So you might need to check your credit profile to see if some other negative account was reported. Because I've never seen a credit card debt paid to zero balance drop a score. I mean, yeah, by 50 points. Now, usually installment debts, they will because it um, closes the account. But as I was stating earlier, I tell people, do you want the cash flow, right? If you're going to pay a vehicle loan, do you want the credit points or do you want the cash flow? You're going to save $550 a month by paying off that vehicle loan or that vehicle debt, right? Just know that you're still going to get $500 a month of cash flow. So what's more important to you? And these are things I do when when people enroll for the customized consultation. Romello said it was on Credit Karma. Just know lately, the Credit Karma scores have been reporting lower than your true FICO scores. Credit Karma scores are not the scores that the banks use. It's your Vantage. You'll see Vantage 3.0 scores on Credit Karma. I love Credit Karma for the monitoring, right? Meaning that whenever negative accounts hit your account, it will inform you because people do have some pop-up collections showing up, right? Credit crisis is getting tight. So I love Credit Karma for notifications, for free monitoring. However, Credit Karma is not the score that your banks and lenders will use. It's not your true FICO. So, Romello, what I would advise you to do is go to Experian.com, set up a free account with Experian. It's free as well. And that would be your FICO 8 score. Or if you have credit cards that give you a FICO 8 and a FICO 9 score for free, then look at those FICO scores because a lot of the FICO scores are actually higher than Credit Karma. And it used to be just the opposite, right? Credit Karma scores, which many people would refer to them as FICO scores, right, used to be higher than your true FICO scores. Now it's just the reversal. And I do know that Credit Karma was bought out by Intuit. And so it changed a lot of their calculations and algorithms, right? And so I would definitely get that free FICO 8 monitor from Experian. It only gives you Experian, right? But at least you'll know a FICO. And then sometimes your banks and lenders or your credit cards will have free credit reports as well. Also, you might want to enroll with Mint. I think Mint is also Vantage Score 3.0. So it'll be similar to Credit Karma, but it will allow you to compare and contrast two different types of Vantage scores to keep you more alert. All right, Kenneth says the no-knock raised by local or state law enforcement should be revoked or restricted by the Justice Department. If it's applicable, it should be federal agents as per Patriotic Act mandate multiple times. False information has led to innocent blood being shed in various homes we are living in. Again, just my input. Okay, thank you, Kenneth, for that very detailed explained input. If cops get prison time for their reckless behavior, it will stop. It will stop, but money stops. Money stops reckless behavior as well. And I'm going to give you some absolute fact on it, not something that I think. This is something that I know. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. So let me pull this up. Because yeah, I mean, I understand, and these cops still may get time in jail. But my point is, if you don't have the money to fight, to hire the legal representation, to make it go to the highest courts, right? Then you won't be able to afford, right? Ecclesiastes 10 and 19, right? The number one best-selling book on prosperity says, a feast is made for laughter. Wine is made to make you merry, right? Wine gives happiness. I like that. A party would give you laughter. Wine would give you happiness. And money is the answer for everything. Money gives you everything. Now, there are some people who say that money doesn't buy you happiness, but I heard a famous philosopher say, if you don't think money can't buy you happiness, you must don't know where to shop. He who has the money has the answers. Jail time, yes, will help. Money reparations will stop. Just my honest opinion. Romello says, honestly, they would rather not see us than take our money. Economic and marching doesn't work. They would rather not see us than take our money. No, they would rather take your money. I'm kind of confused about what you're saying. Marching does not work. But if you pull your money together and you stop, just have an economic boycott, you'll see how quick things change. But see, because the Black and brown community, we don't cycle our money in the Black and brown community like the Jewish community does, right? It's hard to ask for an economic boycott. I hate to say this, but let's be honest, let's be transparent. You ask people to stop shopping for Thanksgiving and Christmas, they still go to these Black Friday specials. You ask them, hey, let's boycott the 4th of July. The beer and barbecue still is gonna go on, right? Let's stop, let's go on a economic boycott. Let's stop shopping. And then if you say, well, support Black businesses, they make excuses. Well, Black businesses, I try to support, they'll give you one example. I tried to support one Black business and the service was so terrible. I tell people all the time, I go to different Mexican restaurants. I love Mexican and margaritas. And I've walked into a Mexican restaurant, no one was there, and they sent me all the way to the back by the restroom or the kitchen. I politely walked out and did not return to that restaurant. That didn't stop me from eating Mexican. I just found another Mexican restaurant that had better service. So if you experience one Black-owned business that your expectations would be higher than any other race, why wouldn't you go support another one, right? And all I'm saying is it's bigger than just supporting Black-owned business, but that's a start, right? You also have to stop spending money in the big businesses. Or will we be willing, like they did in the civil rights era, to do a bus boycott, to stop giving the buses the money that wanted us to sit at the back? Would we pool together? Would we do carpools? Right? The gas owner or the gas stations, right, that didn't want to pump their gas in Black vehicles, but then you went to the owner or another owner who said, hey, yeah, come on, Blacks, I take your money and I pump your gas for you. And I want to treat you with any racial tactics. So I'm not saying to just support Black businesses. I'm saying support non-racist businesses and stop giving the money to the racial businesses. And you will see a bigger change in impact than you will marching, right? So again, I think that's all my credit questions. I'm not going to be on here long. I'm signing off. I'm going to share this one last article with you. Citigroup and Wells Fargo cut jobs or cutting jobs. Well, I had the article up here. Let's see. Citigroup's preps to cut workforce again. If you know anything about Citigroup, they did this in 2008 during the housing market crash, our last recession. Resumes job cut. What it means by resuming job cuts, I mean ahead of risk-related reprimands. I'm sorry. Citigroup will resume slashing, right? Resume slashing its workforce in a bid to cut costs ahead of what is expected to be a rising wave of loan losses. People, there's a credit crisis. Telling you October will be a scary month financially. These banks are preparing for loss of loans, whether that means personal loan, housing loans, houses going bankruptcy, and credit cards not being repaid. So they'll resume slashing their workforce this week. Joining Wells Fargo is doing this as well. They are reducing the headcount in a bid to rein in costs ahead of what is anticipated to be a rising wave of businesses and personal loan losses. So people, these cuts will affect 1% of their global workforce, but that's about 26,000 people globally, right? It says these decisions, the decision to eliminate a single colleague, they're saying it's very difficult, and they are offering severance packages. The job cuts as banks brace for what's expected to be a drop in revenue and an increase in loan losses as the pandemic and economic downturns continue to take its tolls on businesses. This is released today, September 15th. So if banks are preparing, the airlines are preparing, why aren't you all? Why aren't you preparing? Credit-wise, let me tell you, and I've been saying this, it's going to be harder. I make money move shirt on. It's going to be harder now more than ever to get access to this cheap debt to invest. Right? What's this? Oh man, he did a great speech. Let me see, can I pull this up to end this? But he gave a speech and he asked, what BS excuse, John Panetti, what BS excuse will you have? No, that's not John Panetti. I think it's the wrong. Hold on, because I've researched and I watched so many. I cannot find it because this is right. What excuse will you have for not getting cheap debt during this recession? And you know what? I kind of understand it, but I don't understand it. There are so many people who are stating, I'm paying off my credit card debt. I'm getting zero debt in credit cards. Wow, businesses are selling their bad debts through bankruptcies. But you're using your cash not to invest, right? But to pay off bad debt. What's going to happen when you pay these credit card debts off and you stop using them? You're going to close your accounts. What's going to happen when your accounts get closed and your credit limits begin to get decrease, then your credit score is going to drop. What's going to happen when your credit scores drop? Your credit cards are cut off. You lose your job. You don't have a second option now to buy your essential goods and items. And I just really told myself, right, I know why people are paying off debts now, besides the Dave Ramsey I won't say brainwashing, but teaching. I know why people are paying off debts versus using their cash to grow and invest. Because it takes a higher financial IQ to use your cash to invest. See, it's easy for someone to just go around and say, I'm paying off debts, I'm paying off debts. That's easy if you have the money. Now, if you don't have the money, it's not easy. You zero out your credit card. And if you're paying high interest on it, then by all means do that, right? But I'm coming before you really week after week, informing you how layoffs are happening. And your biggest concern is zeroing out a credit card debt that might go in delinquent anyway if you lose your job. Don't you think it would be wiser to stack that cash to pay for a rent or mortgage 6 months ahead of time? Now, if you have a savings set up to pay your rent or mortgage 6 months or a year ahead of time in the event that you lost your job, then go ahead and pay that debt off. But I tell people all the time, unless your credit card interest rate is really kicking your behind, right? It's kicking your behind. Unless that credit card interest rate is so high that it's eating up $200, $300, $400, $500, and you got yourself into a bad credit card interest rate agreement, right? Then why are you paying off a debt that's the easiest debt to sell off? What do you mean by that, Queen? Credit cards can be written off in bankruptcy, which your student loans cannot be, right? Credit cards can be charged off. Now, let me tell you this now. I have been seeing more banks taking people to court for unpaid credit card debt. $800, usually it had to be a high amount, like $10,000 or whatever. Now, if you haven't paid that $800 bill, they would take you to court to garnish you. You know, so I am seeing more of that lately because most credit cards will just simply write it off as bad debt and send you a 1099-C in the form, 1099-C, in order for you to file for your taxes as income, right? Because they need tax write-off as well. And then, but a lot of these credit cards only take people to court when people will not pick up the phone to negotiate to pay them and say, look, I don't have the $800. Will you negotiate a $200 or $300 just to close the account? And most times they will negotiate with you for a third of what you borrow. It will be a bad mark on your credit report. But hey, if you just have that extra money stacked up like that, right? And you're paying high interest on credit cards, and you don't want to file that bad high interest into bankruptcy, which may cost you less than $2,000, you know. Or if you're already in charge-off status and you don't want to call and negotiate to pay less, and go ahead, because I guess people just really don't know how to convert cash into assets. And that's why they only know how to get into bad debt and then just pay it off if they have the extra money. And that's as far as they can go with their credit. But I tell people all the time, use your credit to get rich, not to get poor. Credit was not made for you to get into credit card debt to buy liabilities, vacations, Louis Vuitton purses, um, toys, your motorcycles, your depreciating assets, to have more vehicles in your driveway than garage space. Isn't that right? Huh? Nothing. I never understood why people would have more vehicles in their driveway than garage space. That makes no sense to me. I have 5, 6 vehicles. You don't even have enough land to put I have 3, but only one of them sit outside without a house, right? 5 or 6 more vehicles. All of them depreciating because you don't have a roof to put over them. They have to sit in the sun and the rain and the heat, the wear and tear. I never understood that. So then you charge up these credit cards to go on vacation that you pay for 10 times more to buy new clothes. Listen, if you're going to get in credit card debt, use it for assets. I don't know. It's just so many different ways to pay less in a credit card debt in a economic recession. Now, if this economy was thriving, then I'll say, yeah, go ahead and pay it off. Your job is guaranteed for the next couple of years. We're not in that place. But again, if you got yourself into a bad agreement, and you're paying high interest, and it'll free up your cash flow, and your job is guaranteed, which nobody's job is guaranteed right now, then go ahead and pay it off. And make a Facebook post that I paid off my credit card debt today, so you can get 100 likes. But there's money you could have been using from the banks to build a better future financially to invest. Midnight Cobra said, I just did a student loan rehab. Yeah, well, if you look at my background, you saying a student loan rehab for $5 a month. Let me tell you why it was so easy, Midnight Cobra. Because they charge you interest on that student loan every day. You want to pay $5 on a student loan a month? And just say easy? Go right ahead. Student loan does what we call amortization interest, which means every day you are getting charged interest on that debt, and the interest at the end of the month will be charged interest, which is compound interest. And then that interest at the end of the month will accumulate interest. And guess what? You can't file that in bankruptcy, meaning that if you don't pay that student loan debt off, you can get garnished. You can get that tax refund taken. You can get that bank account with a lien on it. As my students would say, think it's a game. Oh yeah, everybody, yeah, student loan, $5 a month, I'm paying $10. You gonna pay another way with those student loans. Because that $5,000 student loan in a year's time is gonna be $8,000. You pay $5 a month on it. Okay. Jesus says, yes, no one teaches how to use credit cards for assets. Oh, yes, honey. Compound. And see, what you all don't know, too, is that in the Obama administration in 2008 made all student loans federal, meaning that you could get student loans from private banks like Wells Fargo. They would give you a student loan, which was private, and like Sallie Mae, right? And they would allow you to put them in bankruptcy. Obama administration, they stopped all that. They said, no, we're going to make all federal. We're going to make all these student loans federal, right? We're not going to allow them to file bankruptcy on after 2008. Jesus says cars are the worst: taxes, inflation, depreciation, registration, small maintenance, and insurance. Yep. However, let me tell you, it is a different level of freedom when you don't have a vehicle note, because a vehicle payment will more than likely be your second highest payment to your mortgage. And so when you don't have a vehicle note, I don't have a vehicle note, any of them. And I have a great mechanic, so my maintenance is very low, usually. And my daughter and I know the importance of keeping oil changes and keeping new tires, and we keep them clean when we can, at least the interior as much as we can. And I pay somebody to detail it, right? And so it's a whole nother level of financial freedom when you don't have a car note or vehicle note, because that's usually your second largest cash flow. And it frees up so much cash flow for me in my household. So I can imagine what I'm going to feel like when I get this house without a note, right? I just paid up my escrow. My escrow was about $300+ a month. I just paid that out for the year. I said, I don't even want my escrow included in my mortgage payment. So now the interest and the principal is all I have to pay in my mortgage, which freed me up, I think $337, because I paid that escrow and my insurance up for the year. So that extra cash flow that I have, I'm still going to put it on my mortgage, right? But I'm going to put it towards the principal. When your payment isn't enough to cover your principal and interest on student loan, they will get you good. Oh yeah, they will get you real good. Okay, love, I had a college professor who couldn't retire at age 70 because he still had paid off. Exactly. I have co-workers who pay for their kids' student loans, who have to work an additional 30 and 35 years in the school system because, they agreed to pay off their children's student loans and they can't retire. That's why credit card did. I'm like, that's a blessing. If you mess up a credit card, there's so many easy ways to get out of it. But you can't do that as student loan. Carissa said they would even go as far as to prison time. Wow, I didn't know that. To get the way with student loans. Carissa, honestly, the auto industry is about to take a hit because people are working more from home now, the ones that still are fortunate to have jobs. And so people are not buying new cars like they used to anyway. Then it's, not many places where you can travel and get that full experience. Like Vegas, you can't go to Vegas and travel and get that experience with Vegas like you would just the beginning of this year because of the health pandemic. And so people are not traveling as much, they're not traveling as far, and they're not traveling to their job more or working from home. Gwen says, I used to pay $5 a month on student loans. However, listen to the Queen doing my research. Okay, I'm taking a different approach. Yes, no car payments, no stress. I tell you, that feels so great to have 3 dependable and all our vehicles, right? All of the vehicles we get in is so blessed. We get in them and we push the buttons and they crank up and go. Any sign of any maintenance issues, I really stay on top of those because I'm not looking to get a car note right now by any means, right? I'm just stacking my cash flow, storing my cash flow to converting assets. Well, hey, I'm signing out. It's been an hour. So here's to your health and your wealth, your peace and prosperity, your credit and your cash flow. Queen of Credit out. You all have a great night. And for everyone that gave the super chat and donated to the channel, thank you again for supporting the knowledge, the time, and the vision to help you and to help others.